You have a goal. You know exactly what to do. You've thought about it 100 times, but somehow you never actually start. And the worst part, you don't even know why. You've been there, sitting with a task in front of you, completely aware of what needs to be done, maybe even excited about it. And yet, hours pass. Nothing happens. You just think. And then you tell yourself you'll start tomorrow. But tomorrow, the same thing happens again. This isn't laziness. This isn't lack of intelligence. This is a specific psychological pattern that happens inside almost every human brain. And once you understand it, you'll never look at your own procrastination the same way again. Point number one, your brain thinks planning is the same as doing. Here's the first thing you need to understand. Your brain cannot fully tell the difference between vividly imagining a task and actually doing it. When you sit and think about writing that essay, planning that business, starting that workout, your brain activates many of the same regions it would use if you were actually doing those things. And because of that, it releases a small amount of dopamine, a small reward signal. That little hit of dopamine whispers to your brain, "Good job, progress made," but no progress was actually made. You just thought about it. This is why you can spend 2 hours thinking about a project and still feel like you've done something. Your brain got its reward without any real effort. So why would it push you to actually start? The plan felt real enough. The imagination was satisfying enough. And now, the drive to act has quietly disappeared. Point number two, the starting line feels bigger than it actually is. The second reason you think but never start is something called the mental cost of beginning. Your brain is constantly calculating effort. Before you even pick up the pen or open the laptop, your brain is already running an estimate. It's asking, how much energy will this take? How uncomfortable will this feel? How long until I see a result? And most of the time, your brain overestimates all of it. The task feels heavier than it is. The starting line looks further away than it really is. So your mind does what it always does when something feels costly. It delays. It finds something easier. It opens the phone, makes a snack, cleans something that didn't need cleaning. This isn't weakness. This is your brain doing exactly what it was built to do. Protect your energy. The problem is that it's protecting you from something that isn't actually dangerous. It's treating your to-do list like a threat. Point number three, overthinking creates the illusion of preparation. There's a third layer to this pattern, and this one is subtle. When you keep thinking about a task instead of starting it, part of your brain convinces you that you're being productive. It tells you, "I'm not ready yet. I need to think this through more. I need the right moment, the right mood, the right conditions." This is what psychologists call productive procrastination. It looks like preparation. It feels like preparation, but it's actually your brain creating a safe reason to avoid the discomfort of beginning. Because starting something real means it could go wrong. It could be bad. You could fail. But as long as it only exists in your head, it's still perfect. It still has potential. The idea of you writing the book is better than a bad first chapter. The idea of you starting the business is safer than a real rejection. Thinking keeps the dream alive. Starting risks killing it. And your brain, on a deep level, knows this. So it keeps you thinking indefinitely. Point number four, waiting for motivation. That will never come first. Here is one of the biggest psychological traps of all. Most people believe motivation comes before action. They think, once I feel ready, once I feel inspired, once I feel motivated, then I'll start. So they wait. They wait for the feeling to arrive. They wait for the right mood, the right energy, the right sign. But here's what psychology actually shows. Motivation doesn't come before you start. It comes after. Action creates motivation, not the other way around. When you take even one small step, open the document, write one sentence, do 1 minute of the task, your brain registers movement. It registers progress. And that tiny sense of forward motion is what actually triggers the motivation to continue. The feeling you're waiting for only appears on the other side of starting, which means if you keep waiting for it, it will never come because you never gave it a place to begin. Point number five, the loop. You never noticed now. Here's where it all connects. You think about the task. Your brain feels a small reward. The urgency fades. Then you wait for motivation. It doesn't come. So you think more and plan more and imagine more. And the cycle repeats day after day, week after week. The task stays exactly where it started, inside your head. And slowly, a quiet frustration builds. Not because you're lazy, but because some part of you knows that you're capable. You can see the version of yourself who does the thing. You've imagined it clearly, but that version always stays just out of reach. That frustration is actually important. It's your mind recognizing the gap between who you are and who you keep imagining you could be. Here's the truth nobody tells you about why you can't start. The reason you think but never start is not a character flaw. It's not a sign that you don't want it badly enough. It's because your brain found a way to feel the reward of doing something without the risk of actually doing it. Thinking gives you the dopamine. Planning gives you the safety. Imagining gives you the dream without the vulnerability of trying. But nothing real was ever built inside someone's head. You don't need more motivation. You don't need better discipline. You just need to change one thing. Here is the only shift that matters. Stop waiting to feel ready. Stop waiting to feel motivated. Stop waiting for the perfect conditions that your brain keeps promising are just around the corner. Instead, make one agreement with yourself, not to finish, not to do it perfectly, just to start for 2 minutes. Open the thing. Write the first line. Take the first step. That's it. Because your brain doesn't need you to be ready. It needs you to move. And the moment you move, even slightly, the mental resistance that felt impossible suddenly gets smaller. The task that felt massive becomes a little more real and a little less scary. The version of you that actually does things doesn't wait for the right feeling. They start and let the feeling follow. You have spent enough time living inside your own thoughts. The idea is already clear. The plan has already been made 100 times. The only thing left is to begin. And maybe that's the hardest thing a human being can do. Not because starting is so difficult, but because starting means it becomes real. And real things can fail, but real things can also change your life. Your thoughts never will. If this helped you understand your own mind a little better, consider subscribing. Every week we break down the psychology behind the way you think, feel, and behave, explained simply so you can actually use it.